Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today with this conversation, conversation with Ben Film Festival and the film Never Too Late, the Doc Severinsen story. That's a long title, but I know why it's there now, having seen the film. I'm Beth Jasper. I'm the Associate Documentary Programmer for Bend Film, and I'd like to introduce you to our guests. Kevin Bright, director-producer, and Jeff Consiglio, director-producer. Correct? You both did everything, correct?
Yeah, still needed help, but yes.
Still needed help,
Yeah.
okay. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for taking part in today's conversation. And of course, this is Doc Severinsen with us today. So Doc, you grew up in Arlington, Oregon.
Well, I did my best.
I think you did
Yeah.
well.
I was born and raised in Arlington, Oregon. And there's precious few people can say that.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Oregon. That's what we wanted to say. Okay, so you guys, this is an incredible film, an incredible life story. So those two go together. I think that we would all love to know, how did this documentary come to be?
Well, like so many people probably in the audience, I grew up as a member of the Tonight Show audience, vis-a-vis my dad, who watched it every single night for the 30 years that it was on. So Doc was no stranger in my home. And on a chance meeting with Doc's daughter, Nancy, at a friend's retirement party, I saw her, and, you know, I hadn't even thought about Doc in a long time. So I knew he was probably up in years, and you asked the question gently at first, how's your dad? And she said, he's great. And then, you know, it can't be possible, but I asked the question anyhow, is he still playing? She said, yes. He's had his performances like coming in the next couple of months. I said, has anybody considered making a film about him? And that's how it got started. That's how we all got here, was a chance conversation at a retirement party.
And so how did you involve Jeff, and when did you first talk to Doc about the film?
Well, go ahead, Doc. You go on. On. We first talked about it in New York.
When my daughter Nancy was a friend of Kevin's, told me, she said, hey Dad, I was at a party the other day and I saw an old friend, and he said, how's your dad? He was expecting to hear, well, he passed away a few years ago. And she said, oh, he's in good shape. And, you know, I'm in better shape than I look.
He is. Trust me, you can take any of our butts here.
Yeah, but you look pretty.
Told me that Kevin was interested in doing this, and I said, you can't be serious. I mean, why would he want to do that? And she said, I don't know. And so I wound up talking to Kevin, and well, actually, I was at the big Christmas show in New York with the
that's right.
Yeah,
brass section from the New York Philharmonic, and Kevin dropped in, and again, I think, I don't know at which point I said, well, Kevin, you know, are you sure you really would want to do this? You know, he said, yeah. And he's got a persuasive way about him. And also, I have a sixth sense about everything except racehorses. I think I have a winner in every
We
race.
wouldn't have made the movie if he had the sixth sense of race horses.
But Kevin came to see me at that time I was in New York doing that thing. He told me about it, and then I found out the real story about him is he has been famous worldwide for rescuing dogs from
that maybe is a film that'll come to your festival next year.
Okay, that's
another film
Yeah.
I'm working
well,
on.
tell her about it.
Well, you know, it's about the dog meat trade in Korea, so it's a little bit less,
different.
entertaining, very important film, but not quite as lovable as Doc. You know,
Right.
yeah.
Well, anyway,
And Jeff and I have worked together before on another documentary and other projects. So that's, you know, Jeff has a great mind for detail and editorial, you know, all the things that me at this point in my life, I'm just too tired to deal with. And he's brilliant at them. So, you know, I knew I needed a partner in this, and Jeff is the perfect partner for me.
Yeah, you know, Kevin called and said, I got a film we got to make. And I was like him. I heard Doc Severinsen. I said, really? Doc's still around? Because I'm like Kevin. I grew up with my dad and my mom loving Doc, and I fell in love with Doc. And then Kevin thought it was going to be a short film. We were going to make a Doc short, 30 minutes. Put Doc in a studio, record a new album or something, and do clips of The Tonight Show.
A fog
celebrate
machine.
his life. Celebrate his life that way. And then we found out that Doc goes on the road, you know, more than people half his age. So Kevin said, okay, we're going on the road with Doc. And all of a sudden it grew into this year and a half, really, year-long production of following Doc around, trying to keep up with the man. I mean, don't let him, I mean, it's true. We all would be exhausted every day, and he'd still be on his feet walking around in those cowboy boots.
I would say that Jeff and I are so much more hopeful about the future after hanging out with Doc for a year.
Yeah,
it's really inspiring. You know, the things, you know, I think that as we get older, society likes to start putting up more rules and more barriers about what you can do and what you can't do and what's appropriate and what's not, maybe today more than ever. And Doc just defies all of those things and lets you know that you really can do anything. I mean, his workout that's in the film is an astounding thing to behold of a man over the age of 90. I mean, I just had never seen that before. And so it makes me like, gee, if I could just walk around the block a couple of times every day, I could be about a tenth of Doc, and that would be enough.
Right, exactly.
Well, you know, let me just get a little thing in here.
Okay.
When they said they were going to do this, and I guess I said, yeah, I'll do it. I figured, you know, they come to the house with some cameras or something like that. And then there'll be a phone call a week or so later. You know, we're not going to do this right now, but maybe sometime in the future. I figured it'd be something like that. They walked in, I fell in love with the whole crew, and had the time of my life.
Excellent.
We had a lot of fun.
That's what life's about, right?
Yeah, I think we did. Well, I did, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Doc, did you feel okay about talking about your personal life to everyone?
That's, in a way I did, yes, but sometimes if you talk about yourself in a situation like that, you can wish you'd never been there, you know. And the wild thing for me was when they had put the film together, and I came out there to see it, and I thought, you know, I remember everything we were doing and had a great time and all that. And I'm sitting there in one of the rooms in Kevin's house where the guys were going to watch this film. And it was a sobering experience. You know, I realized, holy God, it's like a movie. And oh, well, I know everything I did. And then it gets, and I got more into it, and I'm watching it, and oh my God, oh, I wish I hadn't said that. And then I realized at one point that I was crying. I was sobbing salty tears.
Wow.
And that's when the whole thing came home to me of what we had done, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never had any doubt about them being able to do what they do and do really, really well. But when you sit there with these guys and you're watching your life go in front of your face, and I don't know, I've had some colorful times in my life. And
he certainly has, but you know, at the same time, you know, I think the success of any biographical documentary, unless you're making it after the subject's passed, it's based on a certain amount of trust being built between the filmmaker and the subject. And I think when the three of us first got together, Doc knew I was a fan, but I think, you know, the first thing on Doc's mind, because he's really smart, is what are my intentions? What is, you know, he wasn't sure about what his story was. So what was the story that I was going to tell with Jeff? And I think as we got into the film and got to know each other better, the interviews got freer, the conversation got broader, and also it became obvious to me, at least, that yes, Doc did lead a colorful life, but it was never going to be one of those kind of movies about man run wild, because this guy had so many other levels to him, so many other life lessons and depth, that it just, that would be like scratching the surface and a waste of the palette of Doc Severinsen.
Yeah, it's too much of a limited focus. I mean, you know, the colorful life that Doc led is a gift that he gave to us the moment we stepped into making this film. Our lives got more colorful because of him. And that's
I got a pair of boots.
Yeah, and you got a really badass shirt, Kevin.
That's right. That's right. I should have worn that tonight.
we all got really good boots.
Next time.
But yeah, I mean, his life is just so full of so many things. We just tried to cram it all into the film, and you know, I think it comes out that you're a little bit overwhelmed with all of it, and that's what we wanted to convey, because that happened to us making it.
And I think the other thing we latched. Oh, go ahead. Ask your question. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing that we latched onto early on, and had the good fortune, because we were supported by Johnny Carson's nephew, Jeff Sotzig, in the making of this film, was a very, very special relationship between two men that was largely played out in public for the most part, but had an intimacy to it that was really incredible, and obviously a mutual respect, and having access to all that special footage of the two of them together. It was a special time in television that will certainly never be duplicated, and a relationship that was really authentic between host and band leader.
Yeah.
Well, interesting you say that, because the editing in this was fantastic. I mean, it was amazing. I've seen a lot of documentaries and what I do, and really congratulations on that. That was incredible. So did you?
Thank you. We'll pass that on to our great editor,
Absolutely.
Brad Allgood.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Well, so when you were editing, there certainly must have been some things you wished you could have put in, but you ran out of time, space. anything that stands out that you want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. There's a number of scenes that, first of all, we do have something from every single day of production in the film. That was one thing we're very proud of.
That's great.
But there's a lot of musical numbers that we just couldn't get in there, or we couldn't linger on enough, though we were, enraptured by them, both in production and in post-production. And then there are some scenes of, a lot of people said amazing things and had great experiences with Doc. There were a number of long interviews that were just heartfelt, and we just couldn't keep them in there. We had a lot more of his daughter Nancy that we just couldn't get in there. A lot more family stories. And then Kevin, you had mentioned one of the most precious things that we got to film at one point was Doc with this young soon to be trumpet legend Sophie, who was 13. Was she 13 at the time that we filmed her?
Yes.
Yeah. That you should tell her about that, Kevin, because that was pretty special.
We have a great trumpet lesson in the film, obviously, with Doc and a young man from the Perkins School for the Blind. But this scene between Doc and this young woman was different and equal in the sense that, you would think that Doc would not be sensitive to the fact that because she's a young woman, it's different. And he knows that she's probably competing mostly against men. And he's telling this young woman, you just can't take any shit from any of them. That's what it's going to be, because you know why you're not going to take any shit? Because you're going to take a breath and blow harder than any of them can. And he, within a matter of literally a 15-minute lesson, the girl came and she's a champion trumpet player. She plays great, but Doc gave her a couple of adjustments and notes, and all of a sudden, I'm telling you, her volume and projection increased by 1/3 in a 15-minute lesson. It was incredible to watch. It really was.
And you just watch that spark go off in her young eye when exactly what Kevin says, when Doc says, as soon as that one guy gives you a problem, you give him the hand and you knock him dead. And you can just see it. You can just see the wiring in her brain just go cheek. And now she's on a course in her life where she's more emboldened because of what this man said.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just sad it wasn't in the film.
One thing that probably contributed to anything good I was able to do about that is, I have four daughters. I had 4 teenage daughters at once. And life
was a survivor.
And I know, somehow you survived that.
It was crazy. And I can just recall pantyhose flying in the air, before they're getting ready to go to school in the morning. And I have a son too. So and they were very competitive horse show people. And so I spent a lot of time, whatever I could to be involved in their development. And so I see this young lady, and she is a sweetheart too. She
really is, yeah.
She could flat out play that trumpet, I want to tell you.
That was very kind of you. So many people want to know this, and I also watched The Tonight Show with my parents when I was growing up, and we loved it so much. And it was so much fun to see it again after all this time, to see you with Johnny. So at some point in the film, people talked about you did about how the band leaders have a certain thing. Each of the band leaders has a certain thing. So your thing was your fantastic clothes and your sense of humor, right?
If you say so.
So, but those clothes are fantastic. How did you decide on that? I mean, that was just so much fun.
Well, I'll tell you, that goes back to my childhood in Eastern Oregon. I was always a little bit smaller and not as tough as the people I was hanging out with. So I remember I was going to go play at the rodeo in Condon, Oregon. And it was actually a 4th of July rodeo, you know, one of those things. And I told my mom, I said, I wish I had a cowboy shirt. She says, well, I'll make one for you. And she bought some red, shiny satin and made me the most beautiful red satin cowboy shirt. And boy, I went up that rodeo in Condon. I was strutting my stuff there.
It all started there, huh?
Well, of how I felt when I put that shirt on, I said, yeah, I'll be all right if I could just keep getting red shirts.
That's right.
And what we never realized as an audience about all of that, though, is, you know, Doc thought it was part of his job to come dressed to the nines in a different outfit every day. And somehow it never occurred to his manager to go to the Carson show. You know, Doc's wearing all these clothes. Shouldn't he get an endorsement or an allowance or something? You know, that was the days before. Unfortunately, that would have made a great auction if Doc had been able to keep all of his clothes. But, you know, that didn't happen in those days.
I'll never forget the first day when I had been appointed, okay, you take over the band, and the day came, and I was at Park Avenue, right near the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, and I'm walking down thinking, wow, you know, kind of frightened, that cold feeling in my stomach. Wow, I hope this works out, you know. And I saw not a big men's store, but very classy. And it was an Italian name. So I look in the window and I saw these ties that were really wild. And so I went in and bought about 10 or 12 of them. And that night I put the tie on, and I was the new kid on the block, and Johnny took one look at that, and he went to town on that. And now the opposite of that is, at some time a few years later, I'd been on the show for a long time, and I thought, you know, I'm just damn tired of trying to pick out what I'm going to wear tonight, and something that'll get a comment and be a part of the show and all of that. And I decided I'll wear a dark blue suit. I'm just going to dress like a normal person. And I found out I wasn't normal. I put on the blue suit, and after the show, Johnny gets down, opens the door to his dressing room, where they would have the talk through about how the show went and everything. And Johnny, did you see that goddamn suit Doc had on? What in the hell is wrong with him? And I thought, well, I wasn't there, you know, but they told me about it, and the producer
never dressed in blue again.
Fred DeCordova was telling me in no uncertain terms, that's part of the deal, sweetheart. You dress up on that, and you better find some more hot stuff.
The peacock can never lose its feathers. Once it starts, you're on that path.
Well, but it goes back to the red cowboy shirt.
Yeah.
My mother was pretty sharp when she made that.
That's right. She started it all.
And then too, you know, I played all kinds of rodeos and 4th of July in the country there, and it was freestyle. You know, the guys were cowboys. The guys I went to school with, they were all cowboys or wheat farmers, and it picked up on that.
What kind of weed was that, Doc?
What?
What kind of weed farming was that?
Well, I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
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 Off camera.
Sequel. That's for the sequel.
That's right. Yeah, you have enough footage probably. Yeah. So, so Doc, you are having a wonderful time now, right? Tell us what you're doing.
Well, like everybody else, I'm sharing the being shut in with the pandemic. I'm all set to go out and, do this, that, and the other thing. And Kathy said, no, you can't do that because at your age, and that stung a little bit, but she said, at your age, you come in contact with that virus and it'll be over. And she looks out for me like that. So when she tells me something, I fight a little bit or I resist, and then,
But he
pat on the head.
he still practices every day. And as soon as this pandemic lifts, the lips of Doc Severinsen will be singing again.
Well, I practice every day. I never miss. I don't miss a day.
Mhm.
Speaking of taking care of yourself, when you were working out in the gym, and we saw it in the film, and at your age, I mean, that was incredible to me. I mean, I couldn't do that. That was amazing. But the most amazing thing was what you taught, and I am not a music person. Like, I got kicked out of the violin class in the 4th grade. So, but I didn't realize until you said it that what you were doing was strengthening everything, in order to play your trumpet.
You got to believe that. The older you get, the more difficult it becomes, and you can't just do it like make it all happen at once. You got to really go in the gym and do your work. That's all there is to it. And boy, I'm going crazy now. But I got a few weights around the house here, and I had a couple of minor, little, just small little things like pneumonia and that kind of stuff. So now I'm going to be able to get back in the gym. If I can't actually go to the gym, I could, because they're open. And but
Well, soon we hope, Doc. Soon.
well, I found some weights in the closet the other day, and don't ask me what I was doing in the closet, but I did find some weights.
Oh my gosh. Kevin and Jeff, do you have anything else you want to share about the documentary or your experience?
I think just that, being with Doc for a year has been an incredible experience. And, I think everybody that sees the film, if you haven't been alive to enjoy The Tonight Show, if you don't know about that time in television and in life, this movie really gives you a nice slice of it. So, I'm hoping to reach a few people that maybe didn't see Doc around the first time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm very proud of this film because it speaks to my generation and my siblings and my parents and everybody we grew up with. But I've also shown the film to, new people in my life who have children, and the children are enraptured by the film just because of who this guy is. So even though they don't know The Tonight Show, they're loving the story. It's very special when you can create a film like that tends to cross those lines. So we're grateful to you, the Bend Film Festival, getting it out, helping us get it out there. We're very grateful to the audiences for taking a look at this. It means a lot to us.
And if there's any chance, I'm going to get you guys oh, I'm going to do this. There's no two ways about it. And I'm going to find this guy, Rick Littleton, and I'm going to go with you over to that farm where he's got all these Mustang horses.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
And
yeah.
you're going to see what my heart, the one thing I got left to do in this life is to get that Mustang horse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you know, at one point that was going to be the end of the movie, Beth. Jeff and I saw Doc riding into the sunset on a wild Mustang, and you know, so many other things happened before that. That was early on in the film, but
Yeah.
hopefully we will be Doc sometime in the future and watching that Mustang happen.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
give us a
yeah.
call. We'll be there. Jeff, Kevin, thank you so much for making this movie. It's tremendous, and we really appreciate it. And,
Thank you, Beth.
And we're so glad it's in the festival. I've already seen it 3 times, so.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
We love that.
Doc, thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody. It's been tremendous. And
well, there was one little thing I didn't finish there.
Uh-oh.
When Kevin came to see me and talked about it, but before that, when my daughter Nancy mentioned about Kevin saying, "Gee, maybe we should do a whatever," and so I said, "Well, you know, I don't usually call up and check on people, but this sounds kind of important if it does turn out." So I called Jeff Sotzing, you know, Johnny's nephew. I said, "Hey," and I kind of explained to him what was happening. So I said, "Can you find out anything for me about
Not
this?"
the Kevin Bright guy.
He says, "Well, yeah, what's the guy's name?" I said, "Well, his name is Kevin Bright." And he was off the phone for 10 seconds. And he said, "Go for it." He said, "He's rock solid." And then told me who he is, you know, because I didn't happen to know that, although
Doc had never seen Friends.
I remember his father.
That's
Boy,
right.
That's
I
true.
mean, he was a funny guy, and stopped the show a couple times on the Tonight Show.
I got to watch the Tonight Show with my dad, and I actually got to see my dad on the Tonight Show a couple of times. He was a double talk comic, and and he went on a couple of times. You know, once after the New York blackout, he was the vice president of Con Edison to explain the blackout, and another time he was from the IRS to tell you how to file a last-minute return. So yeah.
Oh, God.
It's all connected. It's all a big round circle.
it is. It connects. Everybody connects. So, Doc,
And speaking of connected, just one last thing. There's Kathy in
sure.
the wings over there saying hi. Hi, Kathy. Just wanted to make sure we
everybody.
thanks
got
for
a
sending this
hello
along
into you.
for us. Doc, I just wanted to say that you are, and I could tell this the first time I watched the film, you're truly an inspiration to so many people, just watching you work and you know, at your age, and you're just a lovely person, very, very delightful. And
Are you talking about Kevin or me?
talking
And
about
he's
you.
quick. He's quick.
He is quick. He is quick. What a brain you have. So thank you for the music and the laughter and for sharing your life on screen for all of us. We really appreciate it. It's great. Thank you guys all for coming today. We appreciate that. And Bend Film.
Thank
and
you, Beth.
if y'all do
Thank you,
come to
Bend
work,
Film
and
Festival.
yes, you're
We'd
welcome.
love to. Wish we could be there.
Can I ask a question? When you show this thing, where is it going to be shown? In Bend?
Yes, it'll be shown virtually. So everybody will be getting on their computer and watching the film.
No, I want to be there. I want to be there because it's the one chance I got to go out and get a hold of Rick Littleton and
Back to
that
Rick.
horse is still alive.
No,
Back
Doc,
to the
we're going to
Mustang.
go there. As soon as the pandemic lifts,
yeah.
we're going, Doc.
Absolutely.
All right? I
Yeah.
promise.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Okay, you
And
guys. Thank
we
you.
might find 40 acres with a little house on it and a tin barn.
There
for-
suddenly
right.
we'll all be
If
Oregon
you-
residents.
If that happens and you end up staying, we'll allow that. Okay? We'll just start another movie.
Yep. We'll do a Western version.
Thank you guys so much. It's been great
Thanks
fun
so
having
much,
you.
Beth.
And thanks
Thank
for
you.
being on.
Appreciate it, Beth.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ben.
Bye.